Welcome to Minding My Money. I'm your host, Shawnee, and this is where the journey to financial freedom is real, raw, and a little bit fun. I'm sharing my wins, my lessons, and everything in between, $1 at a time. Now, before we jump in, let me say this. This ain't financial advice, just financial realness. This episode is about that phase, the broke but determined chapter, the part of your story where the money was low, the vision was high, and you were trying to hold onto your dignity, your dreams, and your sanity all at the same time. It's the season where survival wasn't optional, it was a lifestyle, where sacrifice was daily, where you kept showing up with your last $2 and a whole lot of faith. This is the chapter most people want to skip, but it's the chapter that built your resilience, the one that shaped your discipline, the one that taught you how strong you really were. And this story ain't for pity, it's for power. I remember being in college, dead broke. This was during an awkward transition from when people were strictly using cash to being able to use debit cards. But real-time updates, they didn't exist yet. So half the time you thought you had, let's say, $10 in your account, you swipe for 8 and end up overdrafted. I stayed overdrafting. Never checked the balance, just vibes. College was so humbling. I lived off 20-cent wings at Buffalo Wild Wings on discount nights. The dollar menu at McDonald's was a lifestyle, not a choice. And if I could scrape together $5, I'd grab a little Caesar's pizza and stretch it for 5 days like it was a planned meal prep. But no money for laundry, overdraft fee stacking, and me pretending I was busy studying when really I couldn't afford to go anywhere. That broke version of me, she was tired, hungry, scared, and broke from day to day. But she was also resourceful, even when she didn't know it. When I finally graduated and started working, I thought a paycheck would fix everything, and it didn't. I was making more than I ever have, but not enough. I found myself still behind, still overwhelmed, still pretending I was okay. And I was ashamed to admit it. I was embarrassed to move back in with my mom when I couldn't pay my rent after I was evicted. I was embarrassed that that version of me who looked successful was secretly living paycheck to paycheck. So I started performing. I would attend dinners I couldn't afford. I will say, I skipped a lot of trips I didn't have money for, even though the Sagittarius in me thrives for traveling. Sometimes I'll find myself hanging out without being able to spend anything and just buying normal things just to feel normal. But the truth, I was emotionally spending to escape financial stress, overdrafting, and overworking, and still smiling through it somehow. There wasn't like one drastic moment with specific numbers in my account, but there were plenty of times where I didn't have nearly enough to make it between paydays. Times where eating out wasn't an option. Times where hanging out wasn't even a thought. Times when I chose silence over explaining why I couldn't go because I was down to my last $2, figuratively and emotionally. Bills were due, my gas bill, my water bill, my rent, and I had pride too high to ask for help. But the moment that broke me, sitting in my car after being evicted, realizing I had to move back in with my mom, crying in the parking lot, wondering how the girl with the degree, the girl who tried to do everything right, was still losing. That was my wake-up call because struggle doesn't always make a big announcement. Sometimes it just whispers, you can't keep living like this. I didn't see it at the time, but that broke season shaped my gratitude in ways money never could. Little things hit different when you've been without. A full tank of gas, a stock fridge, a working washing machine, a paid bill with money left over. Those small wins matter more than anything that came in a designer bag. Because when you've been down to your last $2, you learn how to stretch gratitude like groceries. It took years to unlearn the I got it mentality. And honestly, part of that was breaking a promise I made to younger me that I never have to say no to myself. See, I am the oldest and the only girl. And I used to hear this saying that sticks like glue to me. Mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. And that pressure hits differently. It made me realizing asking for help was weakness. So I suffered in silence, drowning in bills and smiling through overdrafts. And eventually I learned something. Humility isn't humiliation. And asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. For me, help wasn't calling the bank. I never did that. It was learning who to ask guidance for and doing my own research so nobody could play in my face. That broke version of me didn't have it all together, but she had heart. Even in the struggle, I never stopped believing I could change my situation. I watched YouTube tutorials, took free finance classes, joined programs like Operation Hope, studied like my life depended on it because it did. I had no trust fund, no mentor, just Wi Fi and the will to learn. Every new concept was a win, every paid bill was a victory. Those last $2 weren't just money, they were faith in motion. Now, I did have a turning point, but it didn't happen overnight. But the shift definitely was real. The first time I paid a bill early, the first time I checked my balances without flinching, the first time I said no and felt peace instead of guilt, that's when I knew I was leaving survival mode slowly, quietly, but surely. And the blessing? I didn't need to announce it because real growth doesn't need witnesses, just consistency. In that growth phase, I went from a $300 limit card to real credit lines. I went from avoiding statements to checking my accounts daily, from stuffing bills in drawers to tracking my money intentionally. And the wildest part, my financial glow up didn't change my heart, it healed my habits. When you've lived on your last $2, you move different, you think different, you respect the grind different. No one talks about the emotional cost of leveling up. You lose people, you outgrow habits, you realize that I can't afford that mentality doesn't always mean financially. Sometimes it means emotionally. But once I aligned my money with my values, I stopped feeling like I was losing. I was gaining myself back. Rich isn't a number, not to me at least. Rich is waking up without financial anxiety. Rich is peace, knowing my bills are handled. Rich is saying yes or no without fear attached. I used to dream about wealth, but now I walk in wisdom because being broke taught me this truth. Abundance starts with gratitude, not income. I want to conclude with this. I'm not ashamed of the broke version of me. She taught me how to fight, how to stretch, how to believe in myself when nothing made sense. So, if you're in that chapter right now, down to your last dollar, choosing gas over groceries, or hiding your struggle behind a smile, hear me clearly. You are not less than, you are not behind, and this is not your forever. Your worth is not tied to your bank account. Your struggle does not make you small. I'll never forget my last $2 chapter because it taught me more than any finance class ever could. Thanks for tuning into Minding My Money, where every dollar has a story and every story brings us closer to financial freedom. If you felt inspired, learned something new, or just vibe with the journey, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs it. You can also catch more content and behind the scenes moments on YouTube and Instagram. Just search Minding My Money. Until next time, keep minding your money $1 at a time.